Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video. This time, looking at another article about Bitcoin, which affects basically the entire market. So, Bitcoin could hit $1 million in under a decade. So that means one Bitcoin would be worth $1 million. So, says PayPal director. And then this article talks about Ripple, Ethereum, Ripple. I don't know why it says Ripple and XRP. That's the same thing. That's why it's throwing me off. I'm trying to read it, but it's throwing me off that way. Ripple, Ethereum, Litecoin, EOS, and Tron. So we'll definitely look into the Bitcoin thing. That's going to be the main one. And I'll see what it says about Litecoin. I don't know anything about the Litecoin part of this, but I read a little bit of the beginning of this article and said this is a pretty interesting article. So here we go. We got Bitcoin right there. As the newest member of PayPal's board of directors says Bitcoin could cross $1 million in 7 to 10 years. It's kind of weird that 7's written out and 10 isn't a number. But obviously great news for anyone who holds Bitcoin. And we're going to get to other points in the rest. In a recent commentary, Wentz's Casuras, I butchered that, who is also the chief operating officer of crypto custody solution Zacpo. I don't know, I probably butchered that too. Explains that Bitcoin's odds of succeeding and remaining the leading cryptocurrency are above 50%. He says the odds make it irresponsible to have an exposure to Bitcoin that one cannot afford to lose. 100%. I've been saying that in every single video that I've made. Only invest money that you're willing to lose because crypto is so new and volatile. It's still been around 10 years, but it's still relatively new. And if people decide to get rid of it and it goes to zero, you got to be willing to lose it all. But it's also almost as irresponsible to not have any exposure at all, which again is 100%. It's so new, but at the same time, it's not so new because obviously there's a documentary on Bitcoin on Netflix that you can watch that is really good about explaining like the history of stuff. And we are past the stage of people, rejecting it and having those like big hurdles, but there's still hurdles and still newer. So you definitely want to be in the crypto space. Obviously, I'm going to say that because I like it, but Bitcoin is a fascinating experiment, but it is still just that, an experiment. As such, it still has a chance of failing and becoming worthless. In my subjective opinion, the chances of Bitcoin failing are at least 20%, but after 10 years of working well without interruption, with more than 60 million holders, adding more than 1 million new holders per month, and moving more than $1 billion per day worldwide, it has a good chance of succeeding. In my subjective opinion, those chances of succeeding are at least 50%. If Bitcoin does succeed, one Bitcoin may be worth more than $1 million in 7 to 10 years. That is 250 times what it is worth today. At the time of writing, Bitcoin's about 4,000. Bitcoin now is at 5,207. This is a point right now. I've been reading different articles too that a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the bear market or the bull market, it's all fake. Bitcoin's still gonna fall." And they said if Bitcoin can hold over 5,200, that it's probably not going to fall. So we'll see, if it can hold that. It's over right now. We'll see what happens. But back to this. So Bitcoin is being worth $1 million in 7 to 10 years. I don't think it's that ridiculous. I think there's still a chance that people are seeing Bitcoin as like worth 250,000 a coin in probably like 3 to 5 years. So in 7 to 10, I don't see that out of the realm of possibility of Bitcoin being worth $1 million. So obviously, so main points in this part of it is that Bitcoin is newer, still after 10 years, it's working well and has 60 million holders, million new holders a month, and $1 billion a day. So that's insane numbers because, it's just a lot of money and a lot of cash being sent back and forth a day. $1 billion a day being used is still great. But we'll go into this part of the article. Explains a little bit more about that type of stuff. So he cites Bitcoin's unprecedented economic freedom as a key strength, but the But the critical hurdle for the world's most popular cryptocurrency is not technical, it is an issue of perception. Bitcoin has no intrinsic. I am butchering words right now. I don't value. Bitcoin is simply money, and most forms of good money have no intrinsic value. Gold, the U.S. dollar, national currencies don't have intrinsic value either, but because they have held monetary value for a long time. I don't know why I'm reading this terribly. Most people perceive them as being invaluable, which is a big advantage. The main hurdle Bitcoin has to clear to become successful is develop a similar widespread social perception of the value, and achieving that is quite an ambitious goal. So, basically, they're saying the biggest problem with Bitcoin right now is that it's only been around 10 years, and people need to assign it value. So I've seen people who are against crypto coming out and saying, there's no value in Bitcoin. There's no reason to have it because it doesn't have a value. It's just because someone says it's that, it has no value. But this article does a great job. I mean, money doesn't have a value either. Money just has a value because we say it does. So, like the U.S. dollar is worthless, but it has a value because we give it that. So who's to say Bitcoin can't have a value because we give it one? This just doesn't make sense. Obviously, things like gold and silver and like precious metals have a value because of like rarity and people wanting it, and they're becoming a market for that. So that's what Bitcoin and Litecoin and crypto is all about, kind of. It's creating that market, and people want it. And if you want to get it, you're going to have to buy it, or you're going to have to buy it off of somebody, which creates the market and, competition for stuff for Bitcoin. And if somebody wants it, they're going to pay you for it. I know that it's not coinciding like that, but if somebody wants a Bitcoin, eventually they're just going to have to buy it. Mining is going to go up or like be done once it's all mined. And then if people want it, they're going to have to try and find a way to buy it and to get it. So that's like one thing in the market that is giving it a value, in my opinion. I know that probably didn't make any sense at all, but so at the end, says that it has the main hurdle for Bitcoin has to clear to become successful is to develop a similar widespread social perception of value, and achieving that is quite an ambitious goal. So I don't think it's that ambitious. I don't think it's that big of a hurdle. Obviously, it is a hurdle. It's not something super easy, but I think we're kind of getting past that point. I think Bitcoin has shown that it is more stable than a lot of currencies that aren't first world countries. The U.S., the U.K., Europe, like those places have their currency and it's pretty set. It's not really it's depreciating over time, but it's not it's like huge inflation happening tomorrow. So, but in third world countries, like, I mean, if you look up stuff in Venezuela, like one Bitcoin is worth so much Venezuelan dollars that it's insane. And it like today, let's just say Bitcoin is worth like, I know it's some insane numbers. So it's like Bitcoin's worth like $1 million Venezuelan dollars or something, or like that much. Tomorrow, one Bitcoin might be worth 10 million Venezuelan dollars because their inflation is so rapid and so like trash that's happening to their currency that Bitcoin is more stable than their currency, and people in those countries are trying to get in to crypto so that, like, if you make $100 one day and the next day it's only worth 10, aren't you going to want something that keeps your money consistent so that you're not getting something that's going to be worthless tomorrow? So that's a big part that I think is starting to turn right now. As for Bitcoin being worth $1 million, don't think it's impossible. Like I said, in like 3 to 5 years, I could see it at 250,000. And this quote right here, almost is irresponsible not to have any exposure at all. I think Bitcoin obviously is kind of up there. I mean, it's 5,000 a coin right now for Bitcoin, but Litecoin is Bitcoin's right-hand man. I'm gonna see what that article says in here, but it's literally like, if you want to get involved in crypto and want to put some money in and see what happens, and you're willing to ride it out for 5 to 10 years, I think it'll be a good good thing for everyone. I think everyone will make money. I think the market will boom, and I think that crypto, Bitcoin, Litecoin, these currencies could be the future and could be used in the future. So you won't have to convert it back into, like dollars. You will just be able to use Bitcoin or Litecoin, whatever you have, and use that to buy stuff instead of translating it back into dollars or back into whatever fiat and doing that kind of stuff. So if you want to get into it, Litecoin right now, I mean, it's only $80. Yeah, it's $80.40. So even if you just want to buy one, even if you just want to buy half of one, and maybe you want to buy half of one every 2 weeks or half of one a week, if you want to do something like that, just to dip your toes in, just to get a little familiar with crypto and just kind of try it out. But again, never invest in anything that you're not willing to lose 100%. So I was going to read the Litecoin one. I'm right here. Litecoin creator Charlie Lee joins the latest episode of Magical Crypto Friends, a monthly crypto talk show. This edition looks at blockchain versus time chain, Square's new support for Bitcoin, and more. And it's a YouTube video, so I'm not going to watch that. But guys, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Bitcoin has that chance to boom? Do you think it's a 50% chance like this guy says? I think that's probably pretty accurate. I mean, I like crypto. I like the idea of the whole thing, and I think that is going to be a big part of the future. So obviously getting involved now is only going to help you, because you don't want to be someone in 5 years and even in 10 years. You can think that's a long time away, but for investing, that's literally nothing. And you don't want to be that person in 5 years who says, wow, I would have made $600,000, or I would have made $100,000 if I just put some money in Bitcoin, put some money in Litecoin, and just let it sit there. So that's kind of how I think of it. But we will see how it turns out. I think there's a good chance for it to happen. But as always, guys, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. I love channel support. It helps the channel grow, and I'll see you guys in my next video.